Guys, it's time for the Arrow After Show. We're talking about Season 3, Episode 7, entitled Draw Back Your Bow. And if you guys never seen my after shows before, run down the positives, the stuff I liked about the episode, the negatives, the stuff I thought could have been improved. And so basically, what this episode was about is there's a new archer in town. And it's not Dark Archer, it's this archer called Cupid, and she's a female, and she's basically a Oliver Queen. Only she doesn't know it's Oliver Queen. She's an Arrow super fan, basically, and she's obsessed with Arrow, and she's trying to get his attention and to get him to fall in love with her. And so yeah, let's talk about the positives. Let's jump right into it. Um, it opens during the siege. You know, when Slade and all his men were taking over Starling City at the end of season 2. It opens during the siege, and it kind of shows why Cupid became I don't remember her actual name, but how she became obsessed with Arrow because Arrow saved her, and from that moment on, she was obsessed. Um, so I guess it only took her about 6 months or so to develop good archery skills. Whatever. But I like the fact that it opened up during the siege, and it shows when and how Cupid became obsessed with him. Um, and then Arrow and Diggle track her down, so they think, and they go to this apartment, and it's just filled with Arrow pictures and newsletters, and you know all kinds of. It's filled with Arrow photos and everything. Um, I thought that was creepy, but also kind of cool at the same time. You know, it's kind of a villain that we've never seen before. That's kind of obsessed with Arrow and just really just trying to get his attention, and is willing to do anything to do that. Um, Thea trying to reopen the club again. Yeah, I kind of mentioned this before a couple weeks ago, but yeah, I like the idea of Thea trying to reopen the club because every time she does that, I kind of almost forget that she was trying to do that in the first place. So, uh, yeah, because if you remember, she was kind of running Oliver's club in season 2. So I like when it kind of goes back to that. Like, remember? Thea's trying to reopen that club. Um, Arrow taking the bomb off Cupid's hostage and throwing it. That was an awesome moment. There's a moment where uh, Cupid has a hostage, and Oliver's trying to get there, and she says, "Wait, if you try to shoot him off, if you try to shoot the arrow off the string to get him down, it's gonna explode." So basically, he shoots the bomb, and he throws it, and he just it's awesome. It's an awesome moment. If you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. Um, there's a moment where Diggle and Felicity are talking about the choice that Oliver made, that he doesn't want to be with Felicity. Felicity's like, "Look, Diggle, he made his choice," and Diggle basically says, "Look, you and I both know that Oliver's not good with expressing his feelings." So I like that moment. It was a good scene, brilliantly acted by both David Ramsey and Emily Britt Ricards. Um, very, very well acted. It was a good scene, and I want more Diggle Felicity moments like that. So hopefully we get them, because that's never a bad thing. Uh, Masio's wife, I believe that's how you pronounce his name, Masio or Mazio. It's something like that. The guy who's with Oliver in the Hong Kong flashbacks, and uh, there's a moment where they go to like this pier, Oliver and Masio's wife, and out of nowhere she just starts kicking their asses, and I thought that was an awesome scene. Um, Felicity helping Roy, or no, not Roy, Ray. Felicity helping Ray with this deal. Ray Palmer is trying to get a deal in, and Felicity just kind of interrupts the whole thing, and she says, "Look, this is why you want to work with Ray Palmer." And I'm like, wow, she genuinely does care. It's she's not doing it for the dress or the nice, you know, uh, $10,000 necklace or whatever. Um, she's not doing it for the perks. You know, she's doing it because she genuinely cares about Ray Palmer and his goals that he has. Um, So I thought that was a great moment. Um, then there's a moment where Cupid has Oliver go to the place where he saved her during the siege 6 months back. And just that little fact, I'm like, yeah, this is where it all started for me, and this is where it's basically going to end. That was a cool moment. Um, Oliver getting his ass kicked by Cupid. Now, this is a positive, not because I don't like Oliver. Next, anybody who knows me knows that I love the character of Oliver Queen, brilliantly well played by Stephen Amell. It's just we don't really see him getting his ass kicked too often. He's always the one kicking ass, and that's not bad. But every once in a while, it's very, very nice to see that, he's not the strongest guy in the world. Um, he he's gonna get his ass kicked from time to time. That being said, Cupid being that good of an archer and that good of a fighter in just 6 months, it's a little unbelievable, but it was still a good moment. Um, then when Oliver defeats Cupid, he's not killing his villains now unless he really, really has to, hence the Count Vertigo thing in Season 2. And they mentioned that Cupid is now with Argus, and Cupid is now a member of the Suicide Squad. So hopefully they bring the Suicide Squad back, because I want to see more Deadshot, and I want to see Cupid on the team of Suicide Squad. I think that would be pretty cool if they decided to do that and bring them back. Because I like the character of Deadshot so much. There's so much tension between Diggle and Deadshot. I mean, I know last time we saw them there wasn't too much tension, but they were working together. But still, I always liked the dynamic between Deadshot and Diggle. So yeah. Ray and Felicity kiss. Yes. Ray just kisses Felicity, and Oliver happens to walk by and notices it, and he's pretty upset, and I thought that was a great moment because it shows that Oliver actually really does care. I mean, we knew that he cared, but it's showing that, he's actually in love with her, and he just needs to tell her. Even though, I'm going to go off topic here for a second, I'm going to say that, I always wanted Oliver and Sarah to end up together at the end. Obviously, that's not going to happen. So yeah, sure, go with Felicity. I'm still not I'm not an Olicity, fan or anything. I'm not going psycho. I'm like, they need to get together. I'm like, I wanted him with Sarah, but that's not going to happen. So I guess Felicity, I can deal with that. Then at the end of the episode, Captain Boomerang shows up, and I'm like, holy shit. Next week's episode with Captain Boomerang is going to be badass. I can't wait. And that's actually the crossover episode with The Flash, so, oh yeah. Negatives. Let's start getting into the negatives, because that was all my positives on my list. My negatives. The first thing is, why wasn't this episode saved for Valentine's Day? This feels like a very Valentine's Day episode. And I don't know what day Valentine's Day falls on this year, but even if it's not a Wednesday, you can do it that week or the week before for Valentine's Day. I just think that this episode should have been saved for a Valentine's Day episode. That's what I think. I don't know why it was here, but that's not that big of a deal. Thea's new DJ. There's this kid with long hair who's flirting with Thea, and he's like her new DJ for the club, and it looks like they're going to end up getting together, and while this relationship will probably be better than Thea and Roy, but so far right now, I don't like this new kid. I don't like him at all. So, I don't know. I think Thea just needs to be alone for a while when it comes to relationships. Yeah. Diggle trying to hook Felicity up with Oliver. This is on my negative because, like I said, I'm not a big Felicity fan. I will deal and accept the fact that Oliver and Felicity are going to get together by the end or at some point. At least they're going to try to. I'm going to accept all that, but I don't like the fact that Diggle's kind of pushing the thing on him. It's like, dude, if it's going to happen, just let it happen at its own time. You know what I mean? The Hong Kong flashbacks once again, not really that big of a fan of it just yet, except for when Masio's wife was kicking ass. That was pretty awesome. But Stephen Amell said on the Stream.tv after show with John Campea, Stephen Amell was a guest on there last week, and he said the Hong Kong flashbacks is kind of it's slow, but it's going. He pretty much said it was going to be paid off. He said that's just kind of a slow burn. So I'm gonna trust Stephen Amell, but as of right now, I'm still not really digging the Hong Kong flashbacks. So guys, what do you think of season 3, episode 7? Draw back your bow of Arrow. Let me know down in the comments if you saw this episode. Did you like the episode? Did you not like the episode? So yeah, Arrow season 3, episode 7. Can't wait for next week. Crossover episode with Flash. That's gonna be awesome.